Alright YouTubers, we're back here with the Scag Turf Tiger. Just dropped a Predator 22 horse 670 cc engine into it, and I'll go over everything I did to get it running back up and mowing. Ran into a few issues, but I'll go through everything and show you what I did to get it up and running and the issues that I had. First thing that was a major problem was the engine didn't sit high enough. So you have to get these 4 bolts, 2 on this side, 2 on the other side, have to mount right in there to get everything up, lined up at the right height. So the base of the engine is, I guess, not as thick as the old engine. This is the old engine I took out, 25 horsepower Kohler. And so the problem, like I say, was this wasn't sitting high enough. So I had this C channel was about 1 inch thick, and I ended up cutting and grinding it down to about between 7/8 and 13/16 of an inch thick. I think it was closer to like 13/16 of an inch. And then the mounting holes aren't in the same location either, so I had to re-drill those mounting holes. And then once I got all that lined up, everything went together good. And then I had to get a adapter for the crankshaft, because the crankshaft is smaller and not quite long enough on the Predator engine. So I got that on Amazon. It was about $9, or you can get a different PTO, but those are quite pricey, like about $400 or so. So then came the wiring. The wiring was actually pretty simple. It only takes 3 wires to make one of these engines work. I just used the wiring that came with the engine because that was the simplest way to do it. My old wiring harness was in pretty bad shape on this Scag. The red wire coming with the wiring harness has to go with the power that goes to the battery. And then there is a blue wire that goes on the solenoid if you're going to hook it up the way that it's supposed to. And then the yellow wire that goes, this yellow wire here, goes to your carburetor shutoff. I think that goes to your key, I believe. But then, like I say, I just use the original box here. So the power, so you got the red wire that goes to your power. So I didn't use the original harness here. And then, so the way I hooked it up is to use this original here. And then I just ran a wire straight from the battery with the power into my original box here, and hooked it onto the back of the key where the normal 12-volt positive power was, which made it nice and simple. It powers everything up when the key comes on. So I have to have that on to make everything work like it should. So I start everything back here. I turn this on, makes my PTO come on just like it normally did, and everything works like it should. Nice and simple. I just bypassed wiring everything back here. That way everything's still wired up in this box back here, and I bypassed all the old worn out wiring that was kind of jacked up anyhow. And then also my old throttle and choke cables wouldn't have been quite long enough to reach back here anyway, so I'd have had to get new cables anyhow. So this was actually pretty nice that it came with this. I did have to make a little bracket to move this over just a little bit because where it was mounted on the side of the engine was hitting the battery. But I do know some of the Scags, the battery's on the other side, so that may not be an issue. But if you Google, depending on whatever model you're putting this engine into, whether it's a Scag or some other tractor, I just Googled Scag Turf Tiger wiring diagram, and it brought up the schematics. That's how I figured out how to wire this up. So, oops, let's start it up. Here, warm it up a little bit. So, like I say, everything's working. I've mowed about 2 acres with it so far. Everything's running great. So please hit the like button, subscribe. If you have any questions or comments, hit them down below and I'll try to answer them.